Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, I've turned the light off on the camera, so I wanted to get a good shot of this new LED headlight that I'm experimenting with. Anyway, it's a screw-in E10 base replacement for a standard incandescent bulb. And as you see on this Canadian Pacific, I've just opened the hole slightly where the lens goes and replaced it with that LED light. Just actually stuck it into the hole in the front of the Canadian Pacific shell. And I've got this on the inside rail attached to the portable controller. So we turn the power on. As you see, we have an instant headlight. I've got that 6-volt motor mounted in the Canadian Pacific shell. And as you see, this thing is running just absolutely splendidly. It has a good, bright, white light headlight, as you see. And that bulb completely replaced the front lens on that Canadian Pacific locomotive. Let's take this a bit faster. There we go. As you see, that's running just absolutely wonderfully. So I bought that 6-volt motor just to do some experiments, just like this. Anyway, I've transferred it to this Canadian Pacific shell, added that LED headlight, and as you see, it's turned into a rather respectable locomotive. That's running really, really well. That's running on approximately 4 volts. It has an incredibly bright white headlight now. Like I said, I just slightly opened the hole where the lens goes and just inserted that entire bulb in there. It has a flange on the end, so it's absolutely flat on the end, like the head of a nail. So it completely replaces the lens on this Canadian Pacific. Let me bring this up and stop it. As you see. So it's actually quite interesting looking. So in any case, just open that hole up slightly where the lens was and just slid this entire bulb in there till it bottomed out. It's nice and flat in the front, and you turn the power on. It lights without the locomotive moving, and slowly turn up the power. Like I said, this is a 6-volt motor, and I have absolutely full control over this using the portable controller. Now this controller will run this thing for days, literally days, before it needs to be recharged. We have lots of power available. That's drawing about approximately 4 volts. This thing puts out 12 at 5 amps. So it'll probably run this thing a week. You'd eventually have to start turning it up, of course, as the voltage drops off, but it would run this for a very, very long time. In any case, as you see, a Marx Canadian Pacific shell, a Marx 6-volt CAN motor dropped into it, and now that LED light bulb in place of the original headlight, or the original lens. As you see, this works. It actually works quite well. So I just slightly opened the hole where the lens went and put the entire bulb in there. As you see, that doesn't look bad at all. It looks quite intriguing. Best of all, of course, is the fact that it works. It actually works really, really well. As you see. So in any case, an interesting experiment. But as you see, this runs really, really well with that 6-volt motor in there. It has a good bright, in fact, super white, bright light now. For a headlight, this works actually quite well. So what am I going to do with it? I have no idea. It was just an experiment. That's why I bought the motor. Just for doing things like this. But as you see, that turned out to be a really decent running locomotive. A bit of work, you could actually do something with this. Anyway, just in a quick experiment with that 6-volt motor and of course the new LED headlight. This works really, really well. Surprisingly well, in fact. It's super, super bright. It's easy to do. It replaces the missing lens. So it's a win-win, no doubt. It works. Just a quick video on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.